As we move through our lives, we take in information from so many places, right? We hear information from other people. We read information online. We see videos about topics. We see reels on social media about topics. And we take all of this information in and we utilize it to form our opinions. That's that's what being a human is. That's part of this self-identifying experience that we're all having. And what we often do is, as we take in this information, we build these different levels of opinions. Sometimes we have thoughts on things that we are, not so passionate about, and then we have other times where there are things that we have to, wave a flag over, or even stick a flag in and say, this is who I am. This is my battle. This is what I believe, and that's a part of this brain. That's how we work. We are, who knows why we get our passions, or we come up with our positions that we are either going to take lightly or take very seriously, but they happen. And they differ, right? They differ from person to person. And we currently live in a world where we've been empowered, oddly. And I think there's a lot of reasons why it could be. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of science on it. But whatever those causes, the bottom line is we do end up forming these strong opinions that we are willing to go to bat for, and those opinions sometimes happen in such a way that we think that if somebody who has a differing opinion were to simply listen to our thought process, and they would do that, and they would see the logic the way we have seen the logic, and they would change their mind. And that can happen. That happens all the time. That's a truth. I'm not talking anyway saying that that's not a reality. I know that I've had my mind changed by listening to other people, and I believe that people have changed their minds listening to me. So it's not that I'm invalidating that that's a possibility. But what I wanted to talk about today is this important part of that process that we have to reflect on with ourselves and understand is a big truth about it. Because if you believe, just pick any strong belief of yours right now, if you believe that strong opinion, if heard and listened to by a brain that's logical, that person will maybe not just change their mind right there, but will be influenced and will potentially, with enough thought and reflection, change their mind on the topic. That sounds great, right? That it does, like I say, it does happen. But here's the thing that you have to remember: whenever you're in a conversation with somebody and you're thinking, "Hear my words, and you'll be swayed," is that for it to be true, that with logic and with an open ear, that somebody can change their mind on a topic, then it's absolutely true that the same can be said of you. You have to understand that. If you believe that a Christian could be swayed to believe that there isn't a God, then you can be swayed to believe that there is. That's how that process actually has to work. If you are believing that you have it right and the other person needs to change and you don't need to change, or there's no possibility of you changing, that's called self-righteousness. And that is that you've come to a conclusion inside of your own existence where you're so incredibly right that there's no way that you could be swayed. And here's an important part. Because I'm not saying that that's wrong. If you believe that you have formed an opinion that is so strong and is so thoroughly researched that it's correct, then you have to respect that a person who thinks differently from you thinks the same. I'm not saying that you have to accept that they do, but in the process of understanding that they believe that strongly, or in the process of understanding that they believe as strongly as you do, then you can allow them the room to be who they are, which is the most important part of all of this. Is what I'm really digging into with these videos is the allowance of other people to be different from you. And that's what I hope that that you might be able to gather from this video, is the concept of understanding who you are and what your logic has led you to be. Believe in that, but then also understand that somebody else has allowed their logic and whatever process to believe what they believe, and it can counter yours, and that's okay. Again, that's the most important part. We are able to think differently, and we are able to coexist by thinking differently. That's interesting to think about, the coexist sticker. I mean, God, that's a great example of this whole thing. If you're not familiar with the sticker, it's the word coexist, and it's made up of the symbols of different religious beliefs. And that's what we're missing. That's what we have to get back to. And it's just not about religion. It's about any thought process. Whether peanut butter and banana sandwiches make sense. I mean, if you decide to stick a flag in peanut butter and banana sandwiches are awful, you have to let somebody stick a flag in peanut butter and banana sandwiches are great.